Today we're here in our training room at Sussex Terrace, and we're here today to talk about this guy, which is the Chemex. Now, a lot of people have been asking about the Chemex and asking about the brew guide, but also people have been asking, why would I brew with a Chemex above anything else? Because there's lots of great choices. This is an AeroPress. AeroPress, goes through dishwasher, it's easy to transport, bounces, great brewer, really good option. You've got Hario V60, produces really great coffee, really cheap and easy to use. Why would I choose a Chemex over this? Or even like a Wilfer brewer. Like does everything for you. It's a little bit more expensive, but I mean, it's a great brewer and very consistent. So why wouldn't I just use this instead of a Chemex? I suppose more than anything, the reason why you would choose to use a Chemex is just that you're just a better person than everybody else. If you brew with a Chemex, you're probably a lot sounder too. You're just that kind of person, and that's why you've chosen to brew with a Chemex. So, I'm going to talk you through how to do it. These are the filter papers of the Chemex. So they come folded or unfolded. These ones are folded. But I have a little trick for you, okay? So you'll notice here at the front, there's a ridge, okay? And what this kind of spouty thing does is that you'll notice there's also no ridges on the inside here, not like on the V60. So when you put the paper in, like so, and you start pouring coffee into it, what happens is the paper sticks to the edge of the actual cone, okay? And then what that does is that it slows the flow rate. So the V60 has ridges along the side of it, which keeps the paper away from the edges, which means you get flow through the side of the paper. This one, not so much. So to counteract that, because if that's pouring like that, you might end up with like an airlock if it's all clung all the way to the sides, all the way around. So what the front of this spout is, you can see it's kind of a little groove there. You fold it so that there's three, how would you call these? 3-ply on this side and single ply on this side, and you put the 3-ply side up against the spout so that it's more rigid. So that means it maintains that gap, because if you put the single ply there, it would fall into that groove like that, and then the whole thing would clog and that would be nasty. So the 3-ply goes there. Now, if I have one legacy in coffee, this is it. It's not a spectacular one, but you take what you're given. What I recommend you do is that you take the paper and you fold it again. And that's pretty controversial. And then you take, this might take a bit of practice, but once you get used to it, you take the top bit like this, okay? And then you take the next ply like that, and then you do the same on the bottom side. What you end up with, okay? This might be hard for you to see, but you'll get it yourself when you do it. You get single ply, 3-ply, single ply, 3-ply. That makes sense? So when you pop that in there, you still get 3-ply over the spout, okay, to maintain that groove. But also, you get 3-ply on this side, so it's a little bit more even, you know what I mean? So I have no science to back this up, but if you want to go make some up, feel free to do that. But I contend that will give you a more even extraction, and more importantly, it will look nicer, okay? So we put that in there. Now what you want to do with these papers, because they're so thick as well, is you want to give them a really good rinse, okay? So really good rinse, and then maybe use that water to heat your cup afterwards. So I'll put this one away for the moment, and I'll put this guy on here. Here's one I made earlier. So, I put my, again, as always, we're using 60 grams to a litre. So we're going to use half a litre of water, ergo we use 30 grams. So always 60 grams to a litre. You can deviate from that if you so wish. A few people have pointed that out to me, thank you for that. But that's a good starting point. If you want to go off piste, fill your boots. So you pop your coffee in there. Now, your coffee. So pop that in there. You're looking for a very coarse grind. I'm going to say it looks like instant coffee. Does that make sense? That kind of coarseness, okay? Now, there's lots of different brew recipes with Chemex. Don't be alarmed by the length of the brew time, because due to the nature of the paper filters, they are that coarse, and due to the fact that there's no grooves on the cone, that both of those things combine to slow down the flow rate, okay? So if that paper was lifted away from the edges, and the papers were a bit thinner, it would go faster, okay? So there's more resistance there, so it goes slower. Therefore, you need a coarser grind setting, because you don't want it to over-extract, okay? So you can go for a coarser grind setting, and the paper and the edges will basically slow it down for you, to a certain extent, okay? Now, after that, you can get into like your bloom is when you wet the coffee bed, let it sit for a little bit, and then you can start pouring after that, and there's different reasons behind different techniques, and I get all that. So what I wanted to do today is to give you a very basic default method of doing it that I actually find works well most of the time. It's variable, or you should change it at least, depending on the style of coffee that you're using, or how, like in terms of like the variety or the process or even the roaster. But this is a good catch-all, I think. So tear that off there with that. Now, it's also a very straightforward one, which is easy to explain. And it'll serve you well, hopefully. So that goes on there. So again, there's 3 plies on the spout side. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add 50 grams at a time, okay, every 30 seconds. That's it, 50 grams at a time every 30 seconds, okay? So what I'm going to do first here is tear it off, start my clock. Now, I want to get the first 50 grams in really quickly, okay? So avoid the papers. Just make sure all the coffee is wet. There's 50 grams. Now, I want to get them as quickly as possible because I need as much time as possible for that to seep into all the coffee. You should have a little trickle of water come through, but not very much. So that's 20 seconds now. So all that coffee is kind of just is wetting. And we're coming up to 30 seconds here. Okay, you can give it a little stir there as well if you want. Go. Right, now, 50 seconds. So again, try to say towards the center, avoid the outside. Okay, so avoid the papers and try to pour in towards the center. A bit of height isn't too bad either. Now the reason for that is that the grounds will go like this and swirl in the center. That kind of gets a groove going in the center, which gives you straight down extraction, which is important because most of the extraction happens at the tip of that filter paper. Again, starting in the center here. There you go, 150. Again, just want to avoid the edges. You'll see all these streaks of brown coming up the side. Looks really nice. Okay, so just on the 30 second, every 30 seconds, so at 30 seconds at a minute 30, we're up to a minute 30 now. Here we go, again down to the center. Avoid the edges. Bring it up to 200. Now, I'm also using today a coffee from El Salvador called Las Brumas. So this particular one is a wild forest project. So it's also a Pacamara variety, which is a very, very interesting and somewhat controversial coffee to brew with. Don't Google why. Do. Gets pretty boring though. But I love Pacamaras, always have, and I'm pretty proud of the Pacamaras that we do. And the reason I'm mentioning it is that they're almost gone. In terms, I think, like, actually by the time this video goes up, it could all be gone, which would be really annoying. But if it's still on the website, go and buy some because it's amazing and it's nearly done. It was a very, very small lot. We were lucky to get it. We actually chose it as our anniversary coffee this year, last year for our 10-year anniversary. So a coffee that represents who we are, 3 of you. Okay, 30 seconds now. So this method is a nice catch-all, and it's easy to remember because it's easy to get. I get confused when I'm doing brew myself. I'm like, what about it? So this one keeps it nice and straightforward. You want to keep a good flow rate through the coffee at all times. You don't want it to get too clogged, and then as it comes to the end of that 30-second period, you kind of want to be seeing the bed of coffee appearing as the water level sinks. Okay. A nice little trick as well is that if you've got a set grind profile, so you've had it ground before and you can't change that grind profile, don't put ground coffee in a coffee grinder. You can actually lift it like this, and that speeds up the flow rate. But try to avoid doing that. I mean, it's better to be able to just get your grind setting right. Okay, come to 330. This is thrilling TV, I'm sure. Okay, here we go. So what I would say about the Chemex as well is that it does favour people who like really bold coffee. So if you like coffee that has a really strong flavour and is really impactful, like it kind of make me think of like proper diner style American coffee. I would go with Chemex because the Chemex allows you to do that because the papers are so thick. If you're going to go for that big extraction, if you went for a big extraction in an AeroPress or in a V60, a lot of the stuff that comes through might be a little bit nasty. And what the Chemex does is because the papers are so thick, it gives you that strength, but it holds back some of the nastiness. Now, in saying that, if you decide not to go that big bold way, it still gives you lovely sweetness, lovely clarity. I think is probably the best thing about the Chemex. And here we go, last 30 seconds. More than anything, like I said at the top of this episode, when you use a Chemex and when you pour coffee in your Chemex and you watch it trickle down like that into the beautiful vase below, you just feel better than everybody else. And that's kind of why I like to brew with it. Suffice it to say that I rarely get to brew a Chemex at home, hence me being here. I have more convenient brew methods at home. This is not convenient. It'll probably break on you in time if you have small children running around, or just as if you're as clumsy as I am. But it's a really wonderful piece of artwork as well as coffee. I think I'm bored to death telling people that it has been listed in the MoMA in New York as a classic design piece. And it also appears in lots of really cool movies like James Bond and stuff like that. And it's really nice. It's a great thing to pull out at a dinner party, I'm going to brew a coffee in this, it's kind of cool. And the other thing, which is an absolute bonus, is that it makes a really, really, really wonderful wine decanter. So you put wine in here and you get a bottle to go up to here, you can slosh it around and everything. It works really well, and it's a little bit easier to clean. We usually, I'm not sure at the moment, but we usually have, that's just coming through now, so we're coming up to 6 minutes since I put the first water in. Yeah, so 6 minutes on the button. Bang. So we usually have these, and I have to double check now, but we usually have Chemex cleaners on the website, which essentially is like a wooden toilet brush with Chemex written on the side, crucially. You could also get a toilet brush, but I would urge you to be very careful with how that is treated and where it is kept, for obvious reasons. So here we go. I don't have anywhere to show this. Do that. Don't squeeze it. Just maybe pop that there. And then do this. I mean, I could tell you that it's a great way to get all of those flavours mixed around and get kind of evenness throughout it. That's probably already happened. It just feels great to do this. You take a cup off the top here. And then pour yourself a nice cup. Sit back and be better than everybody else. Cheers.